Welcome to the carbon cost of fast fashion. In this video, we'll be uncovering the environmental impact of the fast fashion industry. From production to waste, we'll delve into how our clothing choices contribute significantly to climate change. The fast fashion industry's alarming carbon footprint, extensive water usage, and contribution to global waste are issues we can no longer afford to ignore. Join us as we explore the hidden costs of our fashion habits. 1. High carbon footprint of production. Fast fashion brands aim to quickly bring the latest trends from the runway to retail outlets at a low cost. This rush results in energy-intensive production processes, particularly in textile manufacturing. Factories that produce these garments consume large quantities of electricity to run their machines. As these facilities often rely on non-renewable energy sources, they contribute significantly to global greenhouse gas emissions. The sheer volume of clothes being produced amplifies this impact. It's like a giant treadmill that never stops because of the never-ending demand, continually requiring energy-intensive operations to meet fashion cycles. If you ever wonder why your shirt was so cheap, consider the energy and carbon costs embedded in its creation. 2. Synthetic fabrics and fossil fuels. Synthetic fabrics like polyester dominate the fast fashion industry due to their low cost and versatility. These fabrics are derived from petrochemicals, essentially fossil fuels. Picture an oil rig. Chunks of the fashion world are tethered to its existence. Manufacturing synthetic fibers like polyester emits much more carbon dioxide compared to natural fibers because fossil fuel extraction and processing are involved. Each stitch of synthetic fabric adds to this carbon burden, creating a chain reaction of environmental costs. Brands often choose these materials because they mimic expensive fabrics, but at a fraction of the price, reflecting not just economic but environmental priorities misaligned with eco-sustainability. 3. Massive water usage. Producing textiles like cotton demands substantial water resources. Imagine the water required to fill a swimming pool. Now envision that on an exponential scale year-round for the clothing industry. From cultivation to mining the resources for synthetic dyes, the water usage is immense. Just growing a single cotton shirt can use up to 2,700 liters of water. Moreover, the processes involved in the production and prepping of fabrics also require significant energy to pump, process, and heat water, translating into higher emissions. This staggering water consumption extends the environmental impact beyond greenhouse gases, as it can contribute to issues like water scarcity and pollution as well. 4. Frequent collections and overproduction. The rapid turnover of trends in fast fashion means that brands release new collections frequently, sometimes as often as twice a month. This relentless cycle leads to overproduction, meaning surplus clothing crowds, warehouses, and store floors. A significant portion of these items remains unsold, causing both waste and an excess carbon footprint. It's like getting more groceries than you can eat, only, in this case, every unsold piece has a carbon mark. The waste generated does not just evaporate, it often ends up in disposal methods that produce emissions, creating a vicious cycle of production without sustainable foresight, adding layers of carbon costs to an already overburdened planet. 5. Global supply chains. Fast fashion leverages global supply chains where garments are often made in countries that are far removed from where they'll ultimately be sold. Transporting these garments involves extensive logistics operations like shipping, trucking, and flying, all of which are significant contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. Picture a t-shirt made in a factory in Bangladesh, flown to a warehouse in the US, trucked to a store in Germany. The carbon cost can be immense. This long-distance movement of garments adds layers of carbon costs to clothing items, raising their unseen environmental price tags. While global supply chain operations reduce costs for brands, they amplify the environmental impact on the planet. 6. Short product life cycles. Fast fashion allure pulls consumers into buying clothes designed to last only a season or even less. This temporality encourages a disposable culture around clothing, turning garments into single-use items. Like fast food, fast fashion satisfies immediate cravings but imposes long-term environmental costs. When the life cycles of products are so short, the demand for constant production increases. This perpetual cycle pressures textile industries to consume more resources, leading to more waste and, consequently, a steeper carbon footprint. It's an ecosystem of waste, where short-lived joy comes at the cost of long-term environmental sustainability. 7. Landfills and incineration. A shocking share of discarded fast fashion articles end up in landfills or are incinerated. Unlike compost piles that break down naturally, synthetic fibers and treated materials settle indefinitely in landfill sites. Or they are set ablaze, contributing to air pollution and CO2 emissions. The smoke curls up into our atmosphere, and the fabric remains take centuries to decompose. The environmental toll of fast fashion extends far beyond the customer, piling up as waste or emissions that continue to cost the earth long after the clothes have lost their vogue. Such disposal practices not only waste physical materials, but exacerbate an already clogged carbon cycle. 8. Microplastics from washing. Each time we run a washing machine loaded with synthetic clothes, we inadvertently shed microplastics, small pieces of plastic that escape into wastewater and eventually reach oceans. These tiny particles are almost invisible to the naked eye, but wreak massive havoc on marine ecosystems. It's analogous to pouring countless tiny plastic grains into a vast body of water, altering the ocean's balance and indirectly contributing to climate change. As these microplastics accumulate in the ocean, they disrupt marine food chains, further stressing marine life that's already impacted by warmer temperatures and sea levels, a subtle yet significant addition to the carbon cost of fashion. 9. Deforestation for fabrics. While synthetic fabrics create their own environmental nightmares, natural options like rayon and viscose have their complexities. These materials are derived from wood pulp, often sourced through unsustainable forestry practices. Think of vast acres of forests being razed down to fulfill fabric demands, removing Earth's carbon-absorbing agents, trees. This loss means less carbon is captured from the atmosphere. Hence, as new clothes flood our stores, they extract carbon both in creation and in consequence by destabilizing structures that could have counteracted emissions. Choosing rapid production over sustainable forestry aggravates climate change instead of mitigating it. 10. Lack of recycling infrastructure. An underpinning challenge in the conversation about fast fashion's carbon cost is the lack of recycling infrastructure. Most garments are crafted without life cycle thinking. They're not designed to be easily recycled. Visualize a conveyor belt heading straight to the garbage, bypassing crucial sorting or recycling stops. This linear model of production and disposal means that clothing eventually lands in the trash, rather than returning to production loops. Not only does this add to the waste problem, but it perpetuates high emissions as production keeps ramping up to meet new demands. The absence of robust recycling pathways further locks the fashion industry into an unsustainable and carbon-heavy cycle.